Voyager to turn its camera back towards Earth, and it's what basically amounts to Earth's first ever selfie. And that picture was taken, and there was this pale blue dot.
With its latest finding, Voyager 1, the world's farthest spacecraft, has once again caught the attention of both experts and space fans. The spacecraft has been giving back information since it was launched more than 40 years ago, in 1977. This information has changed how we think about the farthest areas of the solar system and beyond. Neil deGrasse Tyson, a famous astronomer, recently shared an amazing discovery. Voyager 1 has seen 775 unknown things moving through the vast space between the stars. This finding brings up deep questions about the world and the possibility of things we haven't seen before that are just out of reach. After leaving the Sun's heliosphere in 2012, Voyager 1 moved into interstellar space, which is now more than 14 billion miles away from Earth. This important event was the first time that people went outside the safety of our solar system. Voyager has been a kind of sentry since then, exploring the strange world between the stars. The new discovery of these strange objects is one of the most interesting events in its quest. What are these things? Are they leftovers from long ago cosmic events, pieces of space junk from faraway systems that have gotten lost, or something completely new? Neil deGrasse Tyson's discovery has made scientists very interested again and has led to a lot of discussion, since it could change a lot of what they know about the universe. Voyager 1 wasn't specifically made to find things in space. It was meant to study the outer planets and the edge of the solar system. But its set of devices, especially its cosmic ray section and plasma wave system, have been very helpful in learning about how charged particles and magnetic fields interact in space between the stars. The 775 unknown objects may have been found because of small changes in the plasma environment or because cosmic rays bend as they pass by or interact with these objects. The objects have not been seen directly because the Voyager cameras were turned off years ago to save energy, but there is strong proof that they exist. The sheer size and complexity of interstellar space are brought to light by this finding. For many years, most people thought of space beyond the solar system as being empty, with only the odd star or planet to break up the darkness. But this new discovery points to a different reality. Space is full of moving objects, some of which may be the remains of old star systems. Some of them might be things that have never been seen before. These might be made up of dark matter, pieces of planets that have gone astray, pieces of dead stars, or even icebergs floating through the galaxy. Each option gives us a new way to look into things and learn more. One of the first questions that came up after this finding is where these items came from. There could be pieces of matter thrown into space from other star systems when stars die violently. When a star explodes in a supernova, it can send shock waves through the space around it that throw matter far away from where it came from. Over the course of billions of years, some of this junk may have moved into the areas that Voyager 1 is now exploring. It's also possible that these items come from faraway galaxies, were pushed through intergalactic space by unknown forces, and are just now arriving in our galaxy's area. It seems that space, even beyond the heliosphere, is more active and full of people than was thought before 775 items were found. The fact that these items could be very different is another interesting thing that this finding means. Some scientists think they might be a variety of celestial things, from simple pieces of rock to very complicated structures that formed in conditions very different from those in our solar system. This might help us learn more about how matter acts in places where stars don't affect it. Finding unidentified things in space between the stars could lead to the discovery of new types of matter or physical processes that can't be seen in our solar system. It has also been suggested that some of these things might not be natural but rather man-made. Even though there is a very small chance of finding alien items in interstellar space, the discovery of so many unidentified things naturally makes people think. Some people think that these might be the remains of long-gone alien societies, with their equipment now floating around in space. The public still thinks about this idea, but Tyson hasn't really thought about it. He's been more interested in the science prospects. Finding man-made things in space would have huge effects, maybe even earth-shattering effects. It would mean that intelligent life has lived in other parts of the world and that we are not the only ones. So far, the evidence points to natural objects, but the sheer number of them makes people wonder about the different kinds of things Voyager 1 might be seeing. Even if these things are natural, they might be different from anything else that has been seen before. They could provide new information that could challenge current ideas of how planets form, stars die, and galaxies are put together. The finding by Voyager 1 also shows how limited our existing technology is for exploring space between stars. Although Voyager has done a lot, it is still using technology from the 1970s, which makes it hard for it to directly view these things. There may be a need for more trips in the future with more advanced equipment that can make more thorough studies of interstellar bodies to follow up on this finding. The discovery of these objects shows how important it is to keep exploring space. NASA and other space agencies are already working on the next generation of interstellar probes. A mission meant to study interstellar matter could change the way we think about the world and maybe give us real answers about what these things are made of. The find also makes us think about the future of space travel in general. As people try to reach beyond our solar system, the fact that there are unknown things in outer space creates both problems and chances. On the one hand, these items could make it harder for future spaceships to find their way through interstellar space. On the other hand, they might provide great chances for scientists to study things. A journey to study one of these things up close could give us information about their makeup, structure, and where they come from that has never been seen before. This could one day help people find new materials or energy sources that are good for everyone. The finding by Voyager 1 also shows how big interstellar space is and how little we still know about the areas between the stars. Even though astronomers have been studying the universe for hundreds of years and space travel has been going on for decades, we are still only beginning to scratch the surface of what is out there. The discovery of these 775 objects is a warning that space is not empty, but full of riddles that have yet to be solved. With each new find, scientists learn more about how the world works. Voyager 1's most recent find is no different. As it goes farther from Earth than any other man-made object, the spaceship keeps pushing the limits of what people know. Another interesting thing about this finding is that it might have something to do with dark matter, the mysterious material that makes up a lot of the universe's mass. Some astrophysicists think that these mysterious items might be made of dark matter, which would give scientists a unique chance to study this mysterious substance up close. If these items really do show that dark matter interacts with normal matter, it could be the first direct proof that dark matter exists and acts in space between the stars. Dark matter has been one of the biggest puzzles in science for decades, so this would be a huge step forward in our understanding of the universe. The fact that these items were found in outer space, where stars don't have much of an effect, makes us wonder how stable and long-lasting they are. Are these things temporary and going to break down or fade away over time, or are they there to stay in outer space? Finding the answer to this question could lead to important new information about how matter forms and changes in the galaxy. These things might be a new type of celestial body that has never been seen before if they are stable. If, on the other hand, they are only temporary, studying how long they last and what happens to them in the end could help us understand how interstellar space works. Voyager 1's discovery of these unknown items also shows how important the probe is still today. Voyager 1 is still one of the most important science tools ever made, even after more than 45 years in space. Its mission has already changed the way we think about the solar system by giving us new information about the outer planets and the edge of the heliosphere. Now, it's giving us information about the structure of interstellar space that has never been seen before. This discovery shows how smart the engineers and scientists who built Voyager were in making sure that it would keep finding new things even as it travels farther away from Earth. The huge number of unknown items found is one of the most interesting things about this find. It's not a small deal that 775 things have been found in space between the stars. People used to think that space was mostly empty, with only random cosmic dust clouds and the odd asteroid or comet moving around. However, Voyager 1's results called this idea into question, saying that space may be much more full of unknown things than was thought before. What this realization means is mind-boggling. For example, these objects could point to a group of galactic junk that hasn't been seen before. This could shed light on events or processes in the universe that have never been seen directly. Many new findings are still being made by Voyager 1. This shows how huge and complicated interstellar space is. We have learned a lot about space over the years, but it is clear that we have only begun to scratch the surface of what is out there beyond our solar system. Astronomers and astrophysicists may have to change how they think about interstellar space after finding the unknown objects. For example, if outer space has more matter than we thought, this could change how we think about how matter acts on a cosmic scale. It might change how galaxies form and change over time, how stars are born and die, and even how different parts of space talk to each other. Each of these things holds a secret that needs to be solved. Scientists are excited to look at the data that Voyager 1 sent back to learn more about these things, but because the ship was only able to do so much, we still have more questions than answers. Are these things small and thick, or are they spread out and look like clouds? Are they made of metals, rocks, ice, or something else strange? The answers to these questions could have huge effects on how we understand not only the local interstellar world, but also astronomical processes in general. If these things, say, have elements or combinations that aren't found very often in our solar system, they could tell us a lot about how the chemical makeup of different parts of the universe is different. One of the more interesting ideas that this find has brought up is the idea that some of these things may be connected to the idea of rogue planets. A rogue planet is a body in a planetary system that no longer orbits a star but instead drifts freely through space after being thrown out of its system. The number of rogue worlds in the galaxy is thought to be in the billions or even trillions. Could some of the things Voyager 1 saw be pieces of these kinds of planets or even whole rogue planets? Even though this is just a guess, it would be a new step in the study of planets. Rogue worlds have been very hard to study up until now because they are so far away and don't have a light source nearby. Being found by Voyager 1 could be the first step toward naming and studying these things up close. The finding also makes people think about what other projects might be able to do that Voyager 1 did. The spaceship is a great accomplishment, but it can't do everything because of technology from the 1970s. With better tools on future trips, we might get a much better idea of what these things are and how they behave. A journey made just to study the space between stars would be able to measure these objects in ways that Voyager 1 can't, looking at their makeup, density, and speed in much more detail. A journey like this could even carry tools that would let people see these objects, which would be the first time people have had a direct view of the strange things that live in interstellar space. This finding also makes us think about how we study space in general. Planets, moons, and other objects in the solar system have been the center of most space research efforts up until now. But the fact that these 775 objects were found outside the heliosphere says that the areas between stars, which were thought to be empty and boring before, are full of things we know about. This makes it possible for a new type of space research that aims to learn more about the areas between galaxies. In the future, missions might not only look at specific places like planets or moons, but also at the huge stretches of space that link them. The finding made by Voyager 1 also has huge effects on how we think about how galaxies move and interact with each other. It is possible that interstellar space is full of more things than was thought before. This could change how galaxies grow and how matter moves around in them. One example is that these things could help move stuff between star systems over very long stretches of time. Things moving through interstellar space could be pulled in by the gravity of stars or planets, bringing new materials into star systems. Cosmological accretion is the name of the process that is thought to help make new planets and stars. But the fact that so many items have been found in interstellar space says that this process may happen more often and be more complicated than was thought before. The finding also brings up interesting questions about where these items came from. Are they the remains of old star systems that have long since broken apart, or are they made of something completely different? Some scientists think that these items might be made of stuff from the very beginning of the universe that hasn't been affected by the things that have changed our solar system. If this is true, then studying these items could give us new information about how things were in the early world, right after the Big Bang. Astronomers have long tried to figure out how the world began, and this finding would help them a great deal. There's also a chance that these items have something to do with the strange phenomenon of cosmic rays. High-energy particles called cosmic rays move through space at almost the speed of light. They come from supernovae and black holes that are far away. Voyager 1 has been studying cosmic rays in space between the stars for many years. Some experts think that these unidentified items may be linked to the cosmic ray environment in some way. They might be places in space where cosmic rays hit matter, or they might even be places where cosmic rays come from. If this is true, these items could tell us important new things about how cosmic rays are made and how they move through space. It's also possible that these things are connected to dark matter, which can't be ruled out. Dark matter is one of the biggest puzzles in modern astronomy. It makes up a big part of the universe's mass, but can't be seen or found using normal methods. There is some scientific thought that these unidentified items might be a rare type of matter that reacts with dark matter in some way. If this is true, then studying these things might help us learn more about dark matter and how it affects the framework of the universe. For us, this would be a huge step forward in knowing one of the most basic parts of the universe. Voyager 1 found 775 items that had not been seen before. This has implications for the future of human space travel. As people look to the stars and dream of traveling between galaxies, the appearance of these items shows how hard things will be. It was once thought that interstellar space was a huge, empty nothingness, but now we know that it is full of possible dangers. When going through interstellar space, any ship will have to avoid hitting these objects, which could be very bad. This may lead to the creation of new technologies that can find and avoid things in space, which will make sure that future trips are safe. On the other hand, these things also show a chance. All of them could be explored, and they could all be seen as stepping stones to deeper parts of the world. As we get better at interstellar travel, teams could be sent to study these things up close and use them as stops on longer trips. These things might even have useful things for people who want to fly to space in the future, like water, ice, or other things that can be used for power and to stay alive. This finding by Voyager 1 not only adds to our scientific knowledge, but it also sets the stage for future space travel. The trip that Voyager 1 is still on shows how powerful human creativity and interest can be. The spaceship has been going since more than 40 years ago, and it is still helping us learn more about the world. It found 775 new things in outer space, which is just one more example of how much we still don't know. Every new bit of information Voyager 1 sends back makes us think of new things, questions, and beliefs. As we continue to explore the universe, the lessons we learned from Voyager 1 will help us find our way through the unknown and find out what secrets lie beyond. The discovery of these items is not the end of the story. Instead, it is the start of a new phase in space travel. We will learn a lot more about these objects and what they stand for as experts look at the data and plan new trips that will follow Voyager 1's path. They might help us find new kinds of matter, new things happening in space, or even new ways to think about how the universe started. No matter what happens in the future, Voyager 1's finding is a strong reminder that the universe is much bigger and stranger than we think, and there is always more to learn. As Voyager 1 begins its first ever journey into the deepest parts of interstellar space, 775 unknown things passing by have made us think very differently about how we see space itself. People used to think that the space between stars was mostly empty, with only a few cosmic dust particles, gas clouds, and energy particles here and there. This new information questions that idea. Instead, it looks more and more possible that the area beyond the heliosphere, the sun's protective bubble, is much more active and full of matter than was thought before. These recently found objects each offer different science possibilities, and the sheer number of them brings up new questions about the makeup and nature of space between the stars. Finding out where these 775 unknown items came from is one of the hardest things for experts to do as they try to understand them. Space is always changing. Stars are born, live, and die in amazing supernova blasts that send huge amounts of matter into the universe. Matter is always being mixed up and moved around in the galaxy because of this process. That being said, what methods are responsible for making these particular objects? One possible reason for these objects could be pieces of old star bursts that have been spread out over billions of years in interstellar space. Material from these objects may have moved very far and gone through many star systems before Voyager 1 found it. Even though this theory makes sense, it makes me wonder about other things. If these things really are pieces of supernovae from the past, then why haven't more of them been found by other instruments? Due to the large distance between the stars and the low density of the material between them, it might be hard to find these things with binoculars on Earth or in space. Since Voyager 1 has been beyond the Sun's heliosphere and into completely unexplored territory, it has a unique view that could help find these long-lost cosmic travelers. The spacecraft's ability to pick up on small changes in the medium between stars could give us important information about how these things interact with the rest of the universe. Some experts have also said that these things might not be the remains of stars that died a long time ago, but rather a completely different type of cosmic event. For instance, these objects could be pieces of rogue planets, which are planetary bodies that have been thrown out of their original star systems and are now wandering the sky without a connection to anything. Rogue planets are thought to be pretty common, but they are very hard to find because they don't have a home star, which makes them almost impossible to see with normal telescopes. The things Voyager 1 found could be pieces of rogue planets or even whole rogue planets. If this is true, it would be a huge discovery that could change how we think about how planets form and move around in the sky. It's also possible that these unidentified items are made of strange materials that aren't usually found in our solar system. The interstellar medium is very far from being affected by stars, so it may contain materials that are hard to find or not present in parts of space where stellar radiation is strong. This could include types of matter that were made in very harsh conditions, like the cores of neutron stars and black holes, or when galaxies were violently forming. If even a small portion of these 775 items are found to contain exotic matter, it could give scientists a chance to study the most extreme physical processes that happen in the universe's most powerful and violent places like never before. Being able to find these strange materials would not only help us learn more about how matter acts in harsh situations, but it might also be useful for people. In the past, technology progress has come from studying new materials. If Voyager 1 finds items made of materials that have strange properties, like being very hard, superconducting, or resistant to radiation, it could lead to more study into new technologies that use these properties. For example, future spaceships could be made of materials that naturally can handle high amounts of radiation. This would allow people to explore more dangerous parts of space, like the areas near black holes or neutron stars that have a lot of radiation. The finding of Voyager 1 also brings up important questions about the future of space travel and the tools and technologies that will be needed to learn more about these objects. Even though Voyager 1 gave us the first intriguing signs that these objects might exist, it is limited by technology from the 1970s and the fact that its cameras were turned off years ago to save power. Future trips with more powerful instruments and the specific goal of studying interstellar objects could completely change how we think about these objects' makeup, motion, and behavior. These kinds of projects could have high-tech spectrometers, particle detectors, and even image systems that could take pictures from deep in interstellar space. The idea of sending a new spaceship into space between stars brings up a lot of interesting technical problems. One of the most important is the need to create propulsion systems that can hit speeds between stars and keep working for decades or even centuries. Chemical power systems like the ones used in today's rockets are not good enough for such long journeys. But as power technologies like ion engines, solar sails, or even nuclear fusion drives get better, it might be possible to send projects much faster beyond the solar system. These propulsion technologies are still in their early stages of research, but Voyager 1's discovery of these unknown items shows that more money needs to be put into exploring the space between the stars. When studying things in interstellar space, there are big science problems to solve in addition to the technical problems. The sheer size of space and the difficulty of finding the exact locations of these things is one of the main problems. Even though Voyager 1 has found these objects, not much is known about their exact lengths and paths. Future projects will need to come up with new ways to properly track and locate interstellar objects. They might use advanced sensors or gravitational lensing to find tiny changes in spacetime that these objects cause. Another hard problem for scientists is to figure out how these things interact with the medium between the stars. Space is not empty, it is full of charged particles, magnetic fields, and cosmic rays that go all the way through the galaxy. What effects do these objects have on the space between the stars, and what effects do the stars have on these objects? According to readings from Voyager 1, these objects may be making small changes to the plasma environment they pass through. The reactions between these objects could teach us a lot about the features of both the objects and the material between the stars, giving us hints about the conditions that exist there. There are also possible effects on our understanding of the bigger structure of the galaxy that could come from finding these things. Individual objects in interstellar space are interesting on their own, but they may also be part of a larger network of matter in the galaxy that is linked by cosmic currents and gravity. If these atoms are leftovers from long ago cosmic events, then their spread out location in interstellar space might help us understand what happened in the galaxy in the past, similar to how Earth's geological formations show us the history of our world. Scientists could find trends that lead to past supernovae, stellar migrations, or even galactic crashes by looking at where these objects are in space and how they are moving. The finding of 775 unknown objects could also help us learn more about how the universe evolved on a much bigger scale. Even though we have a good idea of how galaxies, planets, and stars grow and change over time, we still don't know much about the stuff that lives between galaxies and stars. These things could be the building blocks of bigger structures in the universe, or they could show how matter is recycled between galaxies and stars over the course of cosmic time. We might learn more about cosmic cycles and how matter moves between different scales by studying these things. This would also help us understand how the universe has changed over billions of years. One more thing that could be looked into is what part these items play in how stars and planetary systems form. Voyager may first have found pieces of protoplanetary disks, which are clouds of gas and dust that form around young stars and eventually turn into planets. If this stuff got away from the gravity of its parent star system and is now moving easily through interstellar space, it could tell us a lot about how planets form in the early stages. Scientists could look into this stuff to learn more about the chemical processes that happen when planets are being formed and how different types of planets, like gas giants or hard planets like Earth, are formed. The search for life beyond Earth has also been changed by the finding of these items. There is no evidence from Voyager 1 that these objects are directly connected to life on other planets, but they are part of a growing body of proof that the universe is much more complicated and varied than we thought. Organic chemicals, which are the building blocks of life, are known to exist in interstellar space and could be in some of the items. If even a small amount of these items contain organic matter, it could be more proof that the building blocks of life can be found all over the world. Also, the discovery that interstellar space has more life than was thought before makes us wonder if other technology societies could have launched their own spaceships or probes that are now drifting through space like Voyager 1. Even though this is just a guess, finding unknown items naturally makes people wonder where they came from. Could some of these things be remains from alien societies that are either long dead or still active? At this point, there is no proof to back this theory. However, the discovery of so many unknown objects serves as a reminder that our understanding of the universe is still very young and there is still a lot we don't know. If you like this video, please give it a like and subscribe to our channel. Also, could you leave your comments below and tell us what you think these unknown objects could be? Thank you for watching, and see you next time.